So it's even possible to patch exchange as a kind of crude sequencer, and there's a couple of different approaches to this. One would be to use the previous sequential switch patch I kind of demonstrated and feed a number of different offset voltages into the inputs and then step through them in turn at one output. I'm going to try a slightly different approach where I'm going to feed in a continuous 5-volt signal to the input, just generating that with an offset from Quadrat. And then I'm going to patch the first 6 outputs to this DAC module from Beers. What this does, whenever it gets a high gate at any of these inputs, it adds the corresponding number of semitones worth of voltage to the output. So basically by turning on different configurations of these 1, 2, 4, 5, 7 and 12 semitones, you can create any musical interval you like, and effectively you can then create a pitch sequence at the output by turning them on and off. So by routing that 5 volts using these buttons to these 6 inputs of the DAC, I can create different notes. Let me show you what I mean. If I get the oscillator droning, it's just a wavetable oscillator with a little bit of LFO movement in the MCO. And if I start turning on some of these buttons to route this 5 volt to the DAC, you see I can create different notes by combining these different offsets which are added effectively to this output here. So I've made a bank of presets which I can just skip through with different notes. And of course we can now clock through those presets using a clock from PAMS. And we'll take that same clock to trigger the internal envelope on the MCO. And we've got a little sequence. We can also randomize that order. At the moment it's just playing them in order, but we can go to the CV trig mode. Up the rhythm a little bit. And of course, if you don't have a DAC module, you can actually do something similar just with a mixer. Just weight the amounts of these 5 volts that are coming in and then run it through a quantiser. The advantage of this DAC is it doesn't need to be quantized because these are kind of precision intervals. But yeah, probably not your first port of call for a sequencer, but it might inspire a few things you can do with exchange in this kind of vein.